Well, pretty close to where I left off. We'll jump around. Look at this point here from the Falcon. This is an incredible point. Now, all the Sugar-Quartz is in my display is just stunning to me. And you're probably picking some up in the peripheral. Um, this piece right here. Some of them, some styles and some points just capture your own personal preference. This point from the hawk, well, right below the hawk, it's actually from the vulture. I named 3 sites right there after birds: a falcon, the vulture, and the hawk. But man, what they could do with Sugar-Quartz is beyond me. It's workable, resilient, just got the job done. Great mercy. So I didn't finish the thought about, I'm just putting it in the pile over there. I'm not going to take too much time with that. We're just going to take a close look at them, like this point from Old Faithful. Old Faithful's not that big. It's probably 35 yards by 35 yards. But there was some kind of occupation and camp happening right on that spot. It's a crazy point, isn't it, right here? Old, rugged point. Anyway, what was I saying? I forgot to mention a couple things about the links. Listen, I share the links because I want to share things that I think will help liberate your mind, will help you expand and consider what might be going on. For example, I want to ask you, Gitmo is a short way of saying Guantanamo Bay, and there is a prison the United States of America set up in Cuba. You might not know that. It's called Gitmo. There's been lots of contention whether or not to keep it open or to close it or what it's going to be used for. It's important that you know what it's being used for right now. It's important that you know how incredibly awesome it is to see thousands of indictments and arrests happening for people who practice pedophilism. The abuse of children is disgusting and despicable. It's ridiculous. And, it took a lot of courage. Look at these 2 points. And I don't mind sharing a little bit politically. It took a whole lot of courage when the president was first elected. You might hate him, but him and his wife stood up, and they were unashamedly open in saying they're going to do their best. This is from Sun Hill, Site 5A. I love this point. Just as something about this Marl Mountain. To end human trafficking, including of children, including the disgusting abuses of children, and you can't mention it. Most people, psychologically, they don't want to know. In their psyche, they can't stomach it. You watch, the president might even comment something today about human trafficking, and that's what he's talking. He knows the depth of the truth of the disgusting sickness of it. We together, by spreading links, by spreading information about what's happening, what's happening that's good, to roll it up, to put an end to it, and it's happening, that's for sure. I would suggest this: Veterans for Children. You can type that in, and you'll be able to find it, or I might even put it in the link, are doing incredible stuff to help with what I'm talking about. And it'll educate you, but you might not want to know. I mean, seriously. But if people don't speak out, if we don't start standing up for innocent, not to mention the obscene type of laws that are on the books in about 7 states in this nation, which allow the murder of live babies. It's disgusting. And this is not just a talking point for a conservative. So, let's keep moving. Let me see. We're looking at some good artifacts. Don't get me wrong. I don't see any difference in these people, in the way they understood politics, and the way we enforced, I say we, Europeans enforced or abused politics upon them. And it wasn't these people. It wasn't these people. It was the historic Indian peoples, which were not these people. These are ancient Stone Age Indians right here. Look at these points now. It's just crazy. There's a lot. Look at my time. I'm just grabbing some. Okay, we're going to go through and we're going to do them in little sets. See what pops out. Oh, this is another one from, look at this point, this archaic point, the color. It's from Old Faithful. Again, remember I said that other point, this big crafty point right here? Not crafty, but crafty. It's just crazy. This one here came from the same place. Just incredible. Sugar-Quartz work. I'd say that's a little archaic point, wouldn't you? I get all stirred up because, I mean, it means something to me. I mean, whether it's hard enough if you, and I have a little girl that I've mentioned before that I always pray for. Her name is Georgia May, and she's had cancer and tumors in her stomach and surgeries and just really suffering. It's just, to me, it's just hard to stomach. You know, why would a little child need to suffer that much? Some people, and even adults, sometimes they get riddled. But anyway, I'm praying that she survive, overcome, and have a testimony. She loves God. You should hear her sing. But just something about her that I stay hooked up in prayer with her. Now, with that said, in pediatrics, there's enough kids suffering just because of fate that I'm not about to put up with adults. I mean, they're worthy of death, in my opinion, that abuse innocence of children. And neither would the Veterans for Children. That's what they do. And I mean, tactically so. They help law enforcement and pin down group after predator. Look at this. Opening Sand. Opening Sand, which is actually right next to that spot, which is Old Faithful. Puts this Sugar-Quartz out. There's a lot over there in Site 5E, I guess, a lot. So I do get stirred up, but that's because I have children, and that's because I believe in the United States of America and how great this place is. It's an awesome place. I'm just grabbing. We're going to get through this. Keep them about 10. Look at this piece right here from the bear. And remember that piece in here, that was, and we're just sitting around talking a little bit, this big piece. It's a great looking piece. You remember that now. That piece and this piece came from the same spot. Could be 25 feet difference. Craziness. This just appealed to me when I first found it. I didn't even know what Sugar-Quartz was. Just craziness. So when I talk about links and I say share them or whatever, I'm saying, you know, let's help. Let's find advocates out there. You might not be one altogether, but you might have a relative or somebody who really wants to know a little more, wants not to be lied to anymore, not fooled anymore. And that's why I challenge you. If it's the State of the Union, listen closely, watch, and listen to your heart and do what it says. Here's a great piece. It's from the Hawk. Put out a couple of those. Look at this piece right here from the bear too. Light gray. It's actually very smooth but granular. I mean, that's hard to say altogether. And here's a piece from the Hawk, the top of it, just the middle. And check this out. This has been seen before. This is one of a kind. Marl Mountain. Crazy, right? My red skin takes away the color. So an advocate. You know, Russell Means was an advocate. Absolute political advocate. Helped found the AIM, American Indian Movement. And if you don't think politics belongs with Indian history, type in Russell Means and listen to Russell Means a little while, and he's going to make it real clear of what a person, I don't want to say you're because I don't really know so much, but what my ignorance is doing in terms of affecting this nation. So it really kicked me in the butt. And I started to learn and I started to seek and study what people were teaching and what they were investigating. And I started to consider it and listen to my heart. All right, this is almost done. Look at this point. You want to see a point that will just floor you from Mecca. Again, this point, these points, they're all coming from the same area. So that's very curious now when I look back on things. The serration. This is a crazy point. That day I found a handful of really incredible points. I was just, the perspective you have for collecting changes, and it humbles you. You don't really know how to understand not finding, which I know many of you out there, Mike and Cameron and Archer and people who go out and work hard to find and they don't. It's very difficult. That's why I work hard to be generous and to share as much as I can. Look at this Sugar-Quartz. I mean, come on. Here's a little point. Interesting point from Highlands, Site 1. I can't see this well. Oh, this came from opening sands as well. It's amazing. Look at these 2 points. They both came from opening sands. Not this point. These 2 points. They both came from opening sands. So as I finish this video, I'm going to move forward onto another. Here's a point. Hidden Hill. Great stuff, right? We got to transfer the pile. My mercy. This little one, I like it. I like those. What do you think? Appreciate everybody. Just a little time through this stuff, right? Let's go on.